try this again. Alright. So, first what I did was I used a regular corded drill. Don't use a battery powder drill because you don't have nearly the RPMs that you need. And start out with one of these wheels. These all three are the same. It's just this is the newer one. That was the first one I used. Second. This is a little bit less coarse, so it doesn't really get down to the primer, but it'll strip the top coat off. I use this to get into the grooves and everything because I have a groove that goes all the way around my truck. Dust mask. Now, these are probably about like $8 each. $7 for the grip, but if you got time I wouldn't use one because it doesn't press down all the way and it leaves splatter marks. Dust mask, might want to get 2 of them. Some Bondo, because I had to replace the old Bondo because moisture gotten under it and cracked. A couple putties. Now for the sandpaper. 60 grit for the Bondo, 80, 100, 320, and then for after you're done, I got this handy little packet that comes with 1,000 all the way to 2,500. It's for wet sanding. Polishes it up, gets rid of that orange peel texture, and it just saves you a lot of sanding if you sand it down before each coat. Here they are, all the way from 800. 800 doesn't come in the pack, but I would highly recommend getting it because it'll take your high spots down. And this 300 or this 3,000 pad was $8 by itself, but it takes off all the little minor imperfections. And then gloves. I did try using aircraft stripper, and for a big job like this, I would not recommend using it because, for one, it doesn't get past the stripper either. If you're doing like little minor body work, get the aerosol can. It's so much easier to deal with. But yeah, and then about like 2 rolls worth of tape. Get the blue tape, the painter's tape, doesn't leave residue. And then all I used was like some 55-gallon trash bags. Cut the bottom off of them and cut them down the side and used them as coverage. Get you some microfiber for the wet sanding. I don't know if you have to, but what I did was after every time I changed grit, I would wipe it down clean. I don't know, I mean, polished concrete before, and you always had to do that because if you got residue from the old grit, you might leave scratches. But overall, if I include the stripper, it costed me about $350. But here's a sander. I would only use that for the Bondo because if you try and sand the Bondo down by hand, it'll get all dimply and all that because it's not a smooth surface. And then I'd say about 20 cans of the red, 15 cans of the clear, and then about 10 cans of primer. But if you have a good automotive store and don't mind spending some money, you can get your paint color that has primer in it if you just choose a simple color. Not trying to get all that fuchsia and all that kind. But yeah, overall it took me about, I'd say, while working 40 hours at my job and then coming home and putting about 5 to 7 hours a day in on the truck, it took me about 3 weeks. This would be the 4th week. I've just finished polishing off the tail bed and the sides so that I can put my bumper back on so I can actually drive the truck without getting pulled over. I'm not going to put the fender flares back on. I think it looks good without them. But yeah. And oh, and also I got this stuff. I got it at Menards. I don't know if you have a Menards wherever you are, but it's about like $3.99 a can. And one can, you don't get too much coverage, but I am very much happy with the outcome compared to that Walmart brand. It's rubberized. I can't scratch it. I mean, but word to the wise, when you put it on there, give it at least an hour in the sun. If you can't put it in the sun, give it about 3 hours to dry. Because if you touch it, it will turn ugly. This is the result of me throwing a piece of cardboard that I was using for overspray, into the back of my truck, and it hit the edge. And now it's all gunked up. So now I have to use the sander to sand it down. And it won't look as uniform, but it's still pretty hard. So I won't end up with scratches all over my truck like it was in the first place. But wish I had taken better before pictures. But yeah.